Hello, it's Moira here, and in this tutorial we're looking at how to remove that extra drop treble that's worked its way into your beautiful project. Looking at my work here, you can see I've got an extra drop treble where my zigzag should be. I've now got a little box instead, so that's the one I'm going to be removing. Please note, this fix is not suitable for every type of yarn, so make sure you test it before using it on your project, and it's not for the faint-hearted. So the first thing that we've got to do is to identify the part of the stitch where it joins the front loop of the row 2 rows below. So this part here is the part of the stitch that joins the row 2 rows below. I now want to create a loop by pulling on this part of the stitch. I'm just gently separating the stitch so I don't make any errors where I'm going to cut. Make sure the part of the stitch that you're going to cut belongs to the drop treble. That's why I've pulled it apart like this. Once you're confident that it belongs to the drop treble, you can then snip it. We're now ready to gently unpick the drop treble stitch. Now, depending on your yarn, this might be slightly more difficult to do than my one. You can see I'm being very, very gentle here in my unpicking. Try not to fray your yarn because it will make actually weaving the yarn in at the end harder. You can see I've now got that unpicked. I'm just wiggling that bottom stitch where it was in to make it flat again. So that's the drop treble now gone. My zigzag pattern is back. So I'm now ready to take those ends and pull them through to the back. Once you've got the ends through at the back, you can knot them or not, depending on how they've come through. Mine's are already knotted, they're still knotted, so it just depends on how far you unpicked your drop treble stitch. I am just going to tighten up the knot. That's why I'm just pulling on them just to tighten them up. I'm now ready to weave those ends in. Weaving in the ends is the trickiest bit to do because the ends are so short. The easiest way to achieve weaving in these ends is to make sure you've got a really big-eyed tapestry needle. I'm using the one that's got the biggest eye that I actually have. And I insert the tapestry needle before I thread the needle. Once you've threaded the needle, you can just pull the needle through as normal. I'm going to put the needle in again and pull it through again, and this is going to be the tricky bit because my end is so short now and it's slightly frayed. So push the needle down as far as you can, which is what I'm doing there, and however you manage to do it, just manage to get that needle threaded up. Once you've managed to thread the needle up, you can see it does take sometimes a little bit of time to actually thread it up properly. It took me a little while to do this. Just pull it through, and I'm quite happy that that's secure. Because I'm using wool, I know that it's not going to come out, so I can actually snip that end off now. That's one of my ends secured. My second end is going to be the trickiest because it is the shortest and it also has actually frayed slightly. I'm rolling the yarn together to make it easier to thread the needle. And on this side, when I'm actually inserting my needle, I'm making sure I'm going through the center of stitches. By splitting the yarn like that, there is more likelihood of my fibres being entangled and less chance of my end coming undone. Again, it takes quite a little time to actually get the needle threaded and pull it through. I'm still going to use that tiny little end that I've got and put it back through the stitches again so that I can entangle the fibres. This is the last time I'll be able to weave the end in, and you will see that it takes me quite a long time to get my needle threaded to enable me to do this. I always persevere at this stage because I don't want any of my ends to come undone. Sometimes I use a bigger eyed needle, however I have managed to get this finally threaded, so I am going to just gently pull that through. My ends are too small now to weave in anymore, so I'm just going to take those two little ends that I've got left and snip them off. So that's the end of step 6, the weaving in of our very tricky ends. And there we go, our extra drop treble has disappeared, making it as though it was never there. If you've found this video tutorial useful, please do subscribe to Daisy Knot's YouTube channel. Thank you.